Okay, it's Friday, the weekend's coming up. This is Cleveland, and what are we doing? Because it's almost Labor Day. This entire weekend is the Cleveland National Airshow. I come every year, and this year, we're gonna show you things you don't normally get to see. Why? Because that's what I love to do, and where do I love to do it? Right here on Cleve-It To Us. So I'm in the Marjorie Rosenbaum Plaza, which is right at the entrance of Burke Lakefront Airport. This is neat because this is here year round, just like the museum inside, which we'll show you in a bit. But this, you can come here 365 days a year, even if you're not flying somewhere, even if you don't want to go into the airport. You can see some of the supporters of the air show. You can see on the ground there are plaques from NASA. There are plaques from the Shockwave jet truck. There are little pieces of Cleveland aviation history as well. But here to support the air show, we've got some aircraft that are permanently affixed, like the U.S. Navy Blue Angel here. And fun fact, in just a little bit, I think we're going to get to talk to some of the Blue Angels team, which I'm really excited about. So Cleveland, we do this every year, right across the backdrop of the Cleveland skyline. Look how gorgeous, isn't it gorgeous? And I'm pumped. You guys got to come out and see this. We're going to be here every day. So today's Friday. The air show starts tomorrow. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, every day. But you have to get your tickets in advance, which is why we're here to show you how awesome this is going to be. They're only just now setting up. They have a lot to do. We're going to see what we can see today. But we're going to do a lot of exploring. We're going to talk to a lot of cool people. In the meantime, one of the things that I want to do for a second is I want to kick it to Nikki, because Nikkie Brown is a Cleveland 13 affiliate reporter, and she's at the Crawford Auto and Aviation Museum at the Cleveland History Center, just waiting for us. She's exploring. She's got people there. So I'm going to kick it to Nikki for a second. Nikki, how's it going over there?
Oh my gosh, you guys, this place is amazing. Everywhere you look, there is a piece of history, and I am so overwhelmed and excited here. Can you tell me what's going on behind you?
This is the permanently affixed Blue Angels. What's behind me?
The Blue Angels. I'd say I was jealous, but I think you should be jealous of us because we have this right here. John, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on here and the history right behind us?
Of course. The Blue Angels are really cool, but this might be even a little cooler. There's only one of these in existence. It's from 1932. It's called a Waddell Williams 44, and it actually won the Thompson Trophy in 1934. A very, very important race right here in Cleveland, and it's a super, super important airplane. Blue Angels are faster. This might be cooler.
Yes, exactly. And so guys, the history behind this, I don't want to say too young for the history here, but I'm learning. The National Air Races is something that I didn't even know existed, and I've been a Clevelander my entire life. So John, fill us in on a little bit of the history here, because I would love for people to understand, like I was just educated, on what this is all about.
Sure. The National Air Races actually started in Cleveland in 1929. It was a really brilliant idea from a marketer in California. The reason it was held in Cleveland was because Cleveland Hopkins Airport was actually the biggest airport in the country at the time, and it didn't actually have runways. It was just a huge open space. So you could actually have 15 airplanes in a row take off all at the same time and go into a race. It was very cool.
That sounds very dangerous.
Yeah, it was.
And why don't they do the races here anymore?
I think part of it had to do with the fact they stopped here in 1949 because of a very unfortunate accident where some civilians were actually killed. Then they went out to Reno, Nevada, where they've been for the last 40 years or so. Again, there's a safety issue that has come up, so the National Air Races are now looking for a new home.
So they were really living on the edge here in 1929.
Absolutely.
So, Grammy, can you tell us what do you have going on out there at the air show?
Okay, I will. One sec. I do want to ask John a quick question, if that's all right, John.
Of course.
So, fun fact that I knew I wanted to share, maybe you know it. So the song, the Air Force anthem, Wild Blue Yonder, the first time it was ever debuted was at the Cleveland Air Races, right here before it was ever the Air Force anthem. Did you know that?
I had no idea. See?
Look at you. Grammy's being a little historian over there. Maybe you should get a new job.
I love my job. Just the fun fact that I wanted to share, but right now I will take it away with some very special people here. I'm on one of the runways, and this is a Blue Angel number 3.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So we're gonna meet both of you, and you're a supply chain officer, right?
Correct.
Can you tell us your name and what that is?
Absolutely. My name is Lieutenant Junior Grade Mara Mason. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I'm a supply officer for the Blue Angels, and my job is to make sure that the aircraft have everything they need to fly and that the pilots have everything they need to fly them.
Nice. Yeah. So what does that mean? Do they get snacks up there in the sky?
No, unfortunately not. They're a little busy during the demonstration to snack. So normally we take care of acquisitioning all of the parts to make sure that the aircraft are safe, and then everything that they need to fly as far as gear, what we wear, everything they use in the aircraft, and make sure everybody's safe to fly.
I love that. And are there a lot of Buckeyes that are part of the Blue Angel team?
Yeah, surprisingly, we have a few. We have myself. I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and then Grant is actually on one of the other jets with us as well. He's from around Dayton as well. And then we have another mechanic who's from the area too.
Now, speaking of mechanics, that's this gentleman over here, right? Absolutely. I'm going to dance over here. Perfect. So, tell me your name and how much you love being a mechanic for the Blue Angels.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Andres Wilhelm. I'm a mechanic here at the Blue Angels. I love it. I joined the Navy to be a structural mechanic, so being in the Blue Angels is just that job times 100. I love working at the aircraft. I make sure that everything is good to go in terms of the flight controls, heights, tires. In my job here is a crew chief, so I make sure that the airplane is good to go for the pilot before the demonstrations and before we transit home and to the show sites.
So, throughout the year, it's not just air shows. You guys have like actual work to do, but once a year we get to experience sort of something that you don't see every day. The formations in the sky, the Blue Angels colors, and we have, I don't know if you saw in the front, the like permanently affixed Blue Angel that we have. It's one of the best things, and we can see that year round, but you can't really see them in the sky. Now, before we were rolling, we talked about when you're not a pilot, there is one of these that has 2 seats, and now you got to ride on it.
Yes.
But not you yet.
Not yet.
But it's coming up. Maybe this weekend, man. Who knows?
I hope so.
So, again, you guys have to check this out because tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday, Memorial Day, Labor Day. See, you know what? I'm going back in time. Is daylight saving still a thing? Are we going back this year? I don't know. But Labor Day, Sunday, Saturday, you got to check this out. They're here. We're going to have a great time. Aside from what we see here during the Cleveland Airshow, we have so much history in Cleveland surrounding aviation and in the Buckeye State.
Sure.
The Wright brothers.
Absolutely.
Right here. So, but you know what? This isn't the only place to learn about aviation history in Cleveland. We still have Nikki waiting for us to throw it back to her yet again at the Crawford Auto and Aviation Museum at the Cleveland History Center. So I am going to throw it back to Nikki. And by the way, Nikki, congrats on having your segment greenlit by 13. We're also excited about this.
What?
You knew this was happening before now, right?
No, I didn't know. Wait, what? I'm so excited. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for supporting Hit the Town with Nikkie Brown. Very exciting news today. Now I got to concentrate on what I'm learning back here, and I will get back to my excitement on that. So thank you, Grammy. Wow. Okay, so guys, right here on, look, I can't even speak. Behind us, you were speaking of history. Check out this bumblebee, okay? This is amazing. This is one of the, well, you be the author here and tell us a little bit.
It's a 1911 Curtiss seaplane. If you notice, there's no wheels, it's on a float, and it is about as primitive an airplane as you can get.
It looks kind of heavy on the bottom, but what I'm noticing here is these seats. So this is where they sat?
That's where they sat.
With no seat belts?
No seat belts, no nothing. It was kind of like, good luck.
Oh my gosh,
And
we hope you make it down.
The whole thing is basically made out of fabric and sticks and wire, and it flew very well.
Wow. This is so fascinating to me, guys. And then I've got some other stuff over here that we were briefly chatting about that I also want to show our viewers. There's a whole part of history that I am thrilled about, and I know my other ladies are also going to love that we're touching on this, but there's all the history behind women in aviation.
Yeah.
So if you want to fill us in.
Sure. Most people have no idea how restrictive aviation was in the early part of the 20th century. It was almost impossible to get a pilot's license.
Yeah.
Aviation schools would not allow women to participate.
Yeah.
And either the only way you could get into it is if your relative was a flyer or your husband was a flyer and they taught you how to fly. But in 1929, that all changed, and Cleveland had a big part of it. There was a race that was organized in 1929 that went from California in several stages, and it wound up in Cleveland.
Well, a big name that Amelia Earhart also flew in this race.
She did.
And it was a very, very well talked about race, obviously. And
Heavily
I was asking
publicized.
too how these women were able to get their hands on these planes and the equipment. So you were saying they had a lot of sponsors.
They had sponsors. Some of the women were fortunate enough to own the planes that they were flying, or it was part of their family. And it, like we said, it was very heavily publicized, and it was one of the seminal events that brought women into contemporary aviation and allowed the nation and allowed the world to understand that women were fully capable of flying these airplanes.
All the history that paved the way for women to be in aviation
That's
is
right
here. You can see all of it displayed here at the Cleveland History Center. And Grammy, I'm going to send you on a little scavenger hunt. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
I want you to go find us a female pilot or somebody who is top-notch in aviation there.
Okay, so before I do that, tell me real quick, John, how do people learn about the Crawford? Are you guys open all the time? Do we need to buy tickets? What's the best way to do this? Do you have a website? I just want to get the information.
Yeah, we do have a website. It's under the Cleveland History Center, Western Reserve Historical Society. You can look at the Crawford Auto Aviation Museum. You can get tickets online. We're open from Thursday through Sunday, and you can just walk in the door and get tickets. We're very proud of our aviation gallery. It's recently been renovated, and it tells a pretty interesting story that most people have no idea that it even existed.
I had no idea, guys, and there's so much more to see here in auto and all the history. So definitely take the time to visit their social media. Come out here on a weekend. I plan on doing so. I'm bringing my dad here next weekend.
So the last time I was there, we were also filming a Cleve-It To Us, and I got to go inside the stainless steel Thunderbird and saw the first ever DeLorean. So it was exciting, and I wanted to give everyone a chance to check out what you guys have going on year-round at the Crawford. But Nikki mentioned inspirational women in aviation, and it just so happens that I'm here with one right now. This is Kim Dell.
Hello.
And you're the executive director of the Cleveland National Airshow.
I am the first female executive director.
See, we make history in Cleveland, and you made history in Cleveland.
Yes, we do.
So this is where we are. We're inside now. I've never been inside.
Yes, we're inside Burke Lakefront Airport.
I've
terminal.
only been outside. Now I'm inside, and I'm excited about this. So tell me a bit about you, and then I want to talk about some of the things we have inside, because I've never seen these, so you have to educate me.
Sure,
but tell me about you. Why do you love this? You've been involved in the air shows for over 30 years, right?
Correct, yes, and this is my 10th year as executive director. So I think the thing that makes the Cleveland Airshow so unique and so special is the history and the longevity of it, and the people who come back. You know, we have many air crew who bring planes on static display, and they came here as little children, and they caught the aviation bug, and now they're in the military, and they bring their planes back. So there's just so many stories like that are just magical.
It's a great place to sort of get into that world too.
It is, yes.
When you hear the music and the atmosphere and the loud jet engines, it sort of does something to you. I just told John at the Crawford, and maybe you know this, maybe you didn't. The first time ever that the Wild Blue Yonder, the Air Force's theme song, it was first debuted at the Cleveland Air Races.
I did not know that. That's
Now
a new
you
one.
know
Oh,
that.
I love it. Awesome.
I know this for a really random, bizarre reason, which we won't talk about on the air, but I do know it to be a fact.
Yeah,
And it's a
yeah.
fun fact that I share with everyone that I can.
That's cool. I love it. I love it.
So tell us about this. This is a simulator, but this is the real deal, right?
Correct. Yeah, we're actually, as we're walking through here, this is actually also the home of the Women's International Air and Space Museum. So these are all of their exhibits that you're seeing. It's really cool to come down here and take a look at it. So everybody from all of the chicks that fly are here.
I love that. I love that. So that fly airplanes, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, because there's I've seen some people on the freeway coming here, and they were flying, but not quite the same way. So this is the real deal. This used to grace our skies.
Correct.
Yes?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Tell me a bit about this.
Yeah, well, this is actually, it's the pretty purple putty cat airplane.
Say that 10 times fast.
I know, say that very, very fast. And the pilot who flew it was Tracy Perlis. And she secretly started to take flight lessons when she was 16 years old. And then fast forward, she ended up with her purple airplane and was in the Women's Powder Puff Derby here in Cleveland. So it kind of has a nice connection.
So we are really making Nikki proud right now because, and she was just saying how hard it was for women in general back then to become involved in aviation.
Yeah.
And that's why, folks like Amelia Earhart really, when she was center stage, it made it a little bit easier, but it still wasn't easy.
Yeah.
So knowing that we have this right here, you got to come down here and check this out.
Absolutely.
So we also have some cool things happening this year. We have the last of one plane and the first of another. Tell me about that.
We do. We have the U.S. Air Force A-10 tactical demonstration. So the Air Force is phasing that airplane out. So this will be the last time for Clevelanders to see it fly. So we need all the Warthog fans to come down and check out the show.
You hear that? Hog fans,
Yes.
Get down here because it's the last time.
It is the last time.
And then there's a first.
You're right. We are ushering in a new era. We'll have the U.S. Marine Corps F-35 demonstration. And this will be the first time in Cleveland. And what makes this aircraft so unique is not only does it take off and land like a normal airplane, but it takes off and lands vertically, just like the Harrier, and it is replacing the Harrier.
Very cool. That's neat. I love that because to me it doesn't make sense. But that's ingenuity.
Yeah. And it
Making
is
the
really,
impossible
really,
possible.
Really interesting aircraft, yeah.
So I love this. And remember, because if I didn't say it already, and I'm sure I did, you have time to get your tickets. You've got to come down here and join us because it's happening tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. It's always Labor Day weekend, and typically it's always good weather.
Yeah.
So, get your tickets, get down here, and you can hang out with us. Come and find us. We'll put you on the Cleveland 13 socials if you do.
Yeah.
And we're giving some stuff away while we're walking around. This year, big year, a lot of things happening in general, politically and around the world. But this is a constant in Cleveland, and it started here. Cleveland Air Races, as John was saying, that was the first.
Correct. Yes.
It happened here first when
It's the
Hopkins,
roots.
right? Hopkins was the biggest airport in the world, so they could have, I think he said, 15 aircraft at once could take off.
Yeah.
And that sort of jump-started everything. And this is a constant every year. You can see it here at Burke Lakefront Airport. You're not going to want to miss this. And maybe you're going to see Kim if you're walking around. Come and say hi to Kim.
Yeah, come say hi.
And we're going to explore some more. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Let's
yeah.
do it.
Okay.
Let's see what's down here. While there's so much history everywhere in Cleveland for aviation, the Blue Angels are here. And they're not here every year, but they do come to Cleveland often. And when they do come to Cleveland for the air show, sometimes you can see this display. So we get a sneak peek because it's not something you're going to be able to see during the air show, but we definitely want to shine a light on it. Everything here looks so cool, from pictures to models, even the little Blue Angel pilot and their crew right there. And we've got Paul over here who sets all of this up, and he's going to tell us a bit about it. How are you, Paul?
Good morning. My name's Paul Niedermeyer. I'm a naval aviation historian with a very obvious, specific focus on the United States Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron, the Blue Angels. The display that was very friendly talked about is something that I've taken upon myself over the last 30 years to promote, to protect, to preserve the history of the team. All of the aircraft that you see here are faithfully reproduced based on the aircraft that was flown by that individual during that era, during that time. This is the 78th year of the team, and the team has thrilled millions and millions of spectators over the years, and I took it upon myself to make sure that that history was preserved.
And I'm willing to bet, I mean, do a lot of other people have collections like this? This might be the only collection of its kind,
Grammy,
or the largest.
Or that's a great question. I can't fully answer that, but based on the interactions I've had with team members over the years, I am the only person who's ever attempted anything of this scale. I have approximately 9,000 hours in this over a period of 30 years. This display first started in 1994 from very humble beginnings to what you see here, and it's grown into this.
I love everything about this, Paul. So you were telling me that everything is very specifically done, even down to the writing on the side and the emblems. Tell me a bit about that.
Exactly. When I built these, I wanted to make sure that it was consistent and accurate with what the public at large might see out on a runway or a ramp. I'll use the example of the number 7 jet that you see here. That number 7 jet has the proper names on it for that era, as well as what is called a BUNO or bureau number that is issued by the Department of Defense or the United States Navy. All of the aircraft that you see here have the proper pilot name, proper BUNO for that particular era.
Your attention to detail is stunning.
Well, thank you.
Because you can see they're setting things up, sort of staging.
Yes.
And you can see this one. It's right there.
Yes.
It's right there. It's right there. It's awesome. Can you see that? Can you see?
I have been very fortunate. The team members have welcomed me with open arms. I use a saying that was used by a former Blue Angel by the name of Doug. His call sign was Dino Thompson back in the mid-90s. Doug Thompson said in an interview that he's just an average guy trying to do an above-average job. And that's how I view it. I'm just an average guy trying to do an above-average job. The thing that I cherish about this display, though, is my ability to inspire the youth. Nobody cares who Paul Niedermeyer is. They just
I
don't.
care.
Well, I see a 5-year-old.
I'm so glad that I know you now. Because this is passion.
Yes.
This is passion. This is dedication. And I'm all about all of this.
Where I was going with that, Grammy, is nobody cares who Paul Niedermeyer is. They just see a guy in a cool shirt and a cool pair of shoes and looking like a team member. The 5-year-old will come up to me and say, "Sir," and I say, "Okay, what's up, little man?" And I'll chat them up, so much so that I'll sit on the floor and talk to them as long as it's necessary. I don't care. But I will tell you this, there is one person that is an absolute star, and I think she's probably hiding behind me here somewhere. I don't know where she's at. Oh, it's my wife, and she's disappeared.
If you want to come on?
She's over here.
Come over here.
During so many years of me doing this, I was the phantom dad. I was doing this, I do some other stuff in the aviation community, and she held everything together at home and allowed me to do this. I get to go out and play with toys, look cool, but without her help and her support, none of this happens.
You are the bomb. And I know that wasn't easy, right, all the time.
No, it was not. Absolutely not. Especially when the kids were little.
I bet you're very proud.
We get to hang out at the cool kids table occasionally.
How fun is that? This has been great. This has been so great. I'm so glad to know. And what was your name?
Sandy.
Sandy and Paul. I love that. Thank you so much for talking to us
Grammy,
and
it's my
teaching
pleasure.
us. And I want to hop in one of the real Blue Angels, so maybe they'll let me in the jet. I don't know. But at least we can talk to some of them. So I think we're going to head out there now. Thank you so much, Paul and Sandy. I really appreciate it.
1, 2, 3. Rock, eyes open, ready for a Cleveland day. Lights up, rock it out, headed for the RTA. Lead the world from dusk to dawn, rocking 7 days a week. And eerie waves are a lullaby that rock us all to sleep. We are Cleveland, a home for us, and the vibe is so critical. We are
Okay, so we're back inside the terminal at Burke Lakefront Airport. How fun was that? How often do you get to talk to some of the crew? I'm so glad that we got a chance to do that. Now we're back inside, and as I mentioned before, inside here is the International Women's Air and Space Museum. So it's not just an airport terminal, it's a museum, and there's so much history. I mean, this whole thing is sort of about history, right? So Nikki was telling us earlier some of the history of Amelia Earhart and how hard it was for women to get into aviation back then. And so it's not just at the Cleveland History Center, it's not just at the Crawford Auto and Aviation Museum, it's here because it's women, airspace, and aviation. So we've got tons, clothing, there's pictures. I mean, this is phenomenal. And if you remember, she was one of the big names to come to Cleveland. So there are a few big names that everyone's heard of that maybe didn't realize had ties to the Buckeye State. And that's the Wright brothers. The Wright brothers. The first to invent human flight. Now, they built the first plane here. They didn't fly it here, but it was built here. And here, just an example of some of the cool things they have. This is the dress of Catherine Wright. This was the Wright brothers' sister. And there's a picture of President William Howard Taft and the Wright brothers and Catherine Wright, and this is her dress. And honestly, I've been to a lot of museums, I've seen a lot of preserved clothing. This is probably the best looking preserved dress, and there's a picture of her wearing it. It's kind of shiny, I'm not sure if you can see it from here, but anyways, this has been a blast. You guys have to check this out. There's so much happening this year. As Kim said, this is the last year you can see certain things. But again, 60 years, that's a big deal. And before that, it was the air races. We've got the Golden Knights parachute team, as always, the Hot Streak 2 jet engine truck, the Air Force C-130 demo, F-15 flyby, and of course, you know we've got the Navy Blue Angels. So you can get your tickets online now. Air show starts tomorrow, and it goes through Labor Day. So you're not going to want to miss this. Go to cleveland13.com. We will have a link where you can buy the tickets, or you can go to clevelandairshow.com and get your tickets. Come and hang out with me. Find me. Find somebody from Cleveland 13. Find somebody from the Cleveland Air Show and hang out with us. You're not going to want to miss the show. And as always, the next time you want to know what to do, where to go, and what to see, check out this show and Cleve-It To Us.